Thank you for joining us for this session 0/episode 1 of the Court of High Rolls, also known as CoHR, and our game, What Lurks Below. This is going to be kind of just like a catch-up to this point, since we started playing this game quite a while ago, but we started recording a little later. So there's just a few things that have happened without recording. It's not necessary to listen to this, though this will fill in a lot of gaps, probably, that you will hear whenever you start listening. I guess we can start by introducing ourselves. I am Sierra, and I play Rowan, who is a half-elf warlock, Pact of the Chain. And how about you guys introduce yourselves?
Rock, paper, scissors, who goes first?
Oh no.
Anyways, I'm Speil. I play Marie, a cute little kitty who's a cleric of the mask and an expert thief. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Oh no. Well, I am Fiore. I play Fearne, who is at the beginning a cleric of the Raven Queen, and then later on a monk of the Changebringer.
So, that's who we are. And then we also have our DM, Eli, who's not here with us today, while we're recording this, but he is there as well. He is not here to, what do you want to call it, babysit us today, so we'll see how well this goes. But,
Oh,
I guess to start off with, where we begin in the campaign is the Salted Archipelago, but specifically on Bargetide, which is kind of like a piratey island city, kinda, not really.
It's definitely a city.
Pirate Island.
Pirate Island, yeah. But that's where we start, and as a lot of D&D stories go, it did start in a tavern. Marie is not present at this moment. Instead, we start off with Fearne and Rowan in the tavern known as the Bronze Rock. I can't remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure how we all got drawn together was by a really old, creepy man in the corner who was,
Wanted to tell stories.
yeah, telling stories about, ooh, these things are happening. And supposedly there was a ship that was in dock that was having a ghost problem, and the captain would be willing to pay handsomely. That captain, known as Bloody Maggie. Sorry, my cat is screaming outside my door. Oh my god, Biz. But Bloody Maggie. And Captain also happens to be part of the Gnarled Hooks, which Rowan is on a blood vengeance quest to, figure out who killed his sister and kill them. So he was on board. And that's how we met Fearne. And one of our old companions, who is a, cat shifter, wild man known as Alton. And yeah, we went to go deal with that whole ghost, quote-unquote, situation. Well, whenever we finally actually go and explore the ship, we kind of find out Bloody Maggie's kind of a bitch, to be honest.
Terrible to her crew.
Very terrible to her crew. And that this quote-unquote ghost actually wasn't a ghost, but a revenant known as the Drowned Man, which was kind of known by legend around Bargetide, and is basically a ghost, but specifically a ghost that goes after crews and people who abandoned part of their crew or a person to die, which we found out that on the last job Bloody Maggie and her crew took, I can't remember if there were monsters coming after them or people, but
they were breaking into a warehouse.
But basically Bloody Maggie and the crew on the ship ditched the crew that was still in the warehouse.
The crew on the didn't want to leave them, but Maggie was just like, well, do you want to die with them? So
yeah, and so they followed the captain anyway. How we found out that this ghost was actually a revenant was because of Rowan's I don't want to say like
Creepy
sketchy.
friend.
Yeah, like acquaintance. I wouldn't say a friend. Sarlin, who is a drow blood hunter.
Cool as fuck, but creepy.
Yeah, cool as fuck, but creepy. Cool guy. Helped us out by actually identifying that it was a revenant and not a ghost. And also how we could kill it.
Oh, we also looked into the McGregor warehouse and found out about the fact that they might have been trading people. Maggie was involved in that.
I forgot about that.
Me with my extensive notes open.
Yeah, good. Yeah, my notes are literally what I've typed out for just all of us to look at.
Oh
my
boy.
God.
I didn't exist at this point, so
With how
fun.
short the drowned man was, it was like 4 pages that I have written down.
Oh my god.
Lord.
My notes are like 2 words that at the moment make sense, and I'll look at it later and it's like cheese wheel. What does this mean?
What does this mean? Me has bullets and highlights and
I sure do write things that are important for my character and no one else.
I write everything down.
I write nothing. A lot of
One
times.
of us has to be the good player.
We see who.
I think the only thing I had for the Bloody Maggie and the Drowned Man note-wise is squeaky door, LOL.
Oh no, that's the door. That's the warehouse. That was at the warehouse.
That was at the warehouse. It was like between, because Alton wasn't able to join us for a session, and so we it had a little
Fearne
one
and-
shot.
Yeah. Fearne and Rowan broke into the McGregor warehouse. That's what was happening. And Rowan was pissy that he couldn't read the notes, and haha, Fearne could.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. Fucking dwarvish, man. It's
Sucks to
always
suck,
dwarvish.
man.
It was draconic, actually,
Oh, sorry. Another D language he can't read.
because Rowan couldn't do that at the other island either.
I know. I have insider knowledge I can't share at this moment, but it's fine. He'll get over it.
You know what else we fucking forgot about in the warehouse? It's
Huh.
just kind of important. The flail snail. We forgot about the flail snail.
Oh yeah, I
Because
forgot that is actually important for
It's very
story.
important. We didn't know what was going on because we heard hitting under the ground. We're like, what the hell is that? So we went and peeked, and it was a snail.
Cute.
And just happened that there were like 2 pirates,
3.
3 pirates coming in because the guy who owns the flail snail or whatever was gone, and so they were coming in to
They're
Kill
coming
it.
to kill it
because they can salvage its shell and sell it or whatever.
for lots of money.
So Fearne and Rowan beat the shit out of them.
Saw Rowan's weird fucking friend.
Rowan's old familiar, which is a very creepy tentacle-looking.
It was like a humanoid. It was like a mini Cthulhu with arms and legs and bat wings and a tentacle face.
Oh, I don't like that.
There was no eyes on it
Fearne
either.
saw it. Fearne fucking saw it and was like, no.
I'm good.
Fearne did actually see Rowan's familiar at the time, which was fucking terrifying. I don't know why she continued to trust him, but it's fine. There'd be no story if we weren't here now. Because we saved the flail snail,
We met Salty Jack.
the proprietor of the warehouse, or renting it out currently, and is also a purveyor of weird animals.
Which we never went back and saw.
Yeah, maybe that'll come up later.
After our next mission, though.
Yeah,
You
true.
guys keep on mentioning Kim and then don't ever take me to see him. What's up?
I know.
I know.
Maybe
Well,
he's
now-
not even here, though.
Well, now we're kind of in
He
a
had a
position
monkey.
we can't go talk to him.
I know. Whose fault
He
is
also
that?
had a bunny with a unicorn horn.
We could have had that. We could have owned it.
Oh, and he gave Fearne a chunk of the shell.
Yeah, in exchange for us saving his
Saving the
baby.
snail. And he said it'd grow back so it doesn't hurt the snail.
Exactly. And Fearne got the shell made into
3 or 4 necklaces, a pair of earrings, and a shield, which I didn't need. She traded the shield for
that's
an
right.
item for Rowan and herself an item.
later. But we do those shell necklaces are basically best friend, Claire's necklaces or whatever. Now I believe Rowan has one, or was given one pretty quickly. and
Rowan
I
has
believe-
one, and Fearne has the other ones.
And then wears the earrings, I believe.
Where's the earrings?
But anyway, I forgot about that short little excerpt, which isn't short. I told myself this would only be half an hour, but then I was like, I know.
Yeah, no,
us.
it's not.
It's fine.
I figured it wouldn't be.
It's fine. Hopefully people are enjoying. I'll cut it to where it makes a little bit more sense, but it's fine for the most part. Oh yeah, the drowned man. Basically, the three of us, Alton, Fearne, and Rowan. Sorry, I have hiccups. So, decided that, you know, the crew really shouldn't be part of this, and we kind of talked to the drowned man a little bit.
Yeah, creepy enough, Fearne being like, hey, guess what? I'm gonna walk up to this scary fucking ghost man.
Yeah, I just remember it like popping up right behind Rowan, and I thought I was gonna have to roll a new character. Session like 2. Oh fucking Christ.
Fearne didn't make friends with them, but did persuade him to have a chit chat instead of murdering everybody on the boat.
Yeah, but basically we came up to the situation of like, hey, why don't we bring Bloody Maggie to you specifically so you can like murder her and like let the crew go, of which the drowned man was like, okay, do that, but you have to make sure that the entire crew is going to give her up.
Yes. He said that the whole crew has to be there and willing to give her up for it to be a good deal.
Yeah, there we go. Basically being like they didn't have a choice in leaving like the crew, or didn't feel like they had a choice, and give up Maggie. Which of course, Maggie was not going to willingly go with us to, you know, get sacrificed. We met one of our favorite NPCs before going to the drowned man. So Alton is from the Ascendancy. Man, it's so weird. Like, I want to tell you guys more, or like tell more about the world, but I don't know. But basically, the Ascendancy is like a sandy, deserty, like rich country area. I don't know.
Everything's rich compared to Barge Tide, man.
Very rich.
Very rich compared to Barge Tide.
Alton was from the Ascendancy, and he specifically was a tracker, and he had a customer, I guess, I don't know, ask for him to track like a certain beast that was known in the Ascendancy, which he did, and that person that asked him is the one and only Calamite.
Oh boy.
What a man.
Whoop, whoop.
This guy.
He is a giant blue lizard. Very large. His brain is not so, but we
It's
love
okay.
him.
He doesn't need a big brain. He has a big heart, question mark? Stomach, question mark?
Yeah, both. But yeah, he's like a lizard folk, I believe.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what we got explained.
but he's big and blue. And he's great. We love him. He knew Alton, and Alton was like, hey, we're gonna go after this revenant, wanna come with us? And Calamite's like, yeah, sure, why not? I owe you one. So Calamite ended up helping the three of us go to a warehouse.
He also said he'd do it for help to get a job.
Calamite's a working man.
Because that's also important for later.
Rowan's dad is a harpooner, which in Barge Tide is like a kind of like high up job, only because if you're you only live to be an old age if you're good at it. But basically you're a sea monster hunter, and Barge Tide has like a whole commerce system where it's like a lot of these ships will go out and hunt these giant like ocean beasts, and they have like harpooners who are the main people that are kind of like hunting them, I guess. And they bring them in, and that's how they get a lot of their money. Like that's basically the commerce of Barge Tide. But Rowan's dad is like an old harpooner. He's very good at his job. And I believe we coerced Calamite into doing this for us if Rowan would just talk to his dad, Eamon, about perhaps taking Calamite out, I guess. But anyway, yes, we did convince Calamite to help us. And we stormed a warehouse or the warehouse, I should say, that we had found out that Bloody Maggie and a few of her, like, loyal crewmates were. It was a really funny fight because Rowan, the alchemist he is, rolled an 8 DC sleeping potion that he put on an arrow. Wow, that bow that I've never used again. It's fine.
It's a
that
one and
he
done.
tipped one of his arrows in. Yeah. Rowan does not use a bow. He did in this one moment, and then it was like,
that one moment.
Yeah.
Never again.
Yeah, but shot her in the shoulder, and she ended up failing the 8 DC and fell asleep immediately. I remember Eli was really mad about it because it's like that moment where he like definitely built this really cool character for us to fight. And she like nat one.
And we had to clear out the rest of the warehouse, and we only let one live because he begged for his life, and Fearne let him go.
Yeah, Calamite so like in the warehouses there's like boat areas, obviously, so you can like bring a boat in. And so Calamite literally rose out of the fucking water.
Like Godzilla.
Yeah. And it was so funny because we were like in the other room and all we heard was screaming of, it's coming out of the water. But yeah, Calamite was very helpful for that. But he didn't end up coming with us for like the actual drowned man later that night. But we tied up Maggie, cleared out the warehouse, brought her to the ship. Oh, we also did play chess on Maggie's body. I mean, she was there.
We played chess on Maggie's ass. Fearne set up a chessboard on Maggie's ass and told Rowan, like, let's play. But
actually, it was Alton.
Ended up playing. Alton ended up playing.
You guys are in such good taste.
So Alton and Fearne ended up playing chess for
Hot Grandma's ass.
Hot Grandma's ass.
God. Why y'all like this?
Listen, we were a little chaotic before Marie came, and then after Marie came, it was go time.
It was
You guys all got boring afterwards.
We couldn't find a table, so we put it on her ass.
But yeah, no, played chess on her ass until like the drowned man came and reaped Maggie or whatever. And then the crew was free, and the first mate of Maggie, Heskin, ended up taking over the ship and was very grateful and was kind of like, if we can do anything for you, like, let us know.
That's what Heskin's from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just over here not knowing who this bitch is.
See, now you know.
Yeah, and then after that, we had a little talk to Shamar to get Calamite a job.
Oh, I forgot. Definitely important for later. After Bloody Maggie passed out, Rowan did find a journal of hers that he did keep. Because that is important later. Because he's looking for information about the gnarled hook specifically and like who's in charge kind of thing. After that whole situation, Alton is an animal man.
He's like the type of guy, if you see a dog across the street, he's gonna run over there and pet it.
He's already there. He teleported.
Absolutely. Well, we had met Salty Jack, and he was like, hey, I've got some jobs if you guys are interested, after we like talked with the flail snail. And Alton likes animals, so Fearne thought it'd be a good idea to be like, hey, let's have Alton meet Salty Jack. And so we took him to the warehouse where Salty Jack is and got on his ship, and he had a lot of animals.
We met the teleporting spider, the blink spider, and then also he got to play with displacer beast kittens.
Oh, those are cute.
And he got to play with blink wolves or something. Dire wolves? I think it was wolves.
Yeah.
Blink dogs.
I think.
Some kind of dog.
But just for future reference, all of those animals are for sale.
That's what I was saying. We could have had fun pets.
Yeah, we could have. But it had a good day with Salty Jack playing with his animals. And the Salty Jack was like, oh yeah, by the way, this is a list of jobs that like I'm interested in. I'll pay handsomely. And the one that we thought was most pressing was that there was a job on an island known as Warbauer Island. This is all in the Salted Archipelago. Like, people were supposedly getting eaten by something, and they weren't sure what it was. And he, obviously, Salty Jack, being interested in animals, is like, what is that? I'm interested. So we went ahead and took the job. And this is where we met one of our other companions, known as Burp. He is a small, platinum-colored kobold, but paints himself red, and he clings in pots and pans whenever he walks. And he was, I believe, also trying to take a job from Salty Jack when we arrived, and just kind of like melded into our group.
He kind of just clung to us. He just assumed that we were taking him with us because we talked to him, and he's just like, yeah, I'm going. We're like, all right, cool.
We also found out that Burp was definitely homeless and living in an alley in
In a box.
Barge Tide.
A soggy.
A soggy box.
He was
That's
eating
sad.
giant rats and just food out of trash cans.
Yes.
Baby.
So we kind of adopted him a little bit. Anyway, we take Burp because now Calamite is gone. He is with Shamar, who is Eamon's captain / kind of Rowan's uncle, adopted uncle, I guess, would be a good term. But they're out actually doing some harpooning. So no help from Calamite. However, now we have Burp. So it was Burp and the three of us. Had to get to Warbauer Island, but we didn't really have a boat. So what better way than to ask the people that owe us, Heskin and the crew of the now dead Bloody Maggie, to take us, which they, like, agreed wholeheartedly because they were like, yeah, we owe you.
You also forgot, before we went and talked to Heskin, Rowan went and talked to his dad and he got the necklace that was Bria's.
Oh, shit. God, why do you have such better notes? God.
Very good notes.
Like, even the important notes for my character, I'm like, oh.
I do!
Yeah, okay.
This is why when I say something happens, I fucking know it happened, because I got very, very, very detailed notes. Like, just the crocodile mission is 7 pages long for notes.
Holy shit.
Oh my god.
I just don't ever know what's fucking going on.
Jesus. Yeah, I forgot about this. Before Eamon, Shamar, and Calamite set off to go harpooning, Eamon had a little awkward heart-to-heart with Rowan, which he gave Rowan's twin sister's necklace to Rowan. It's like a golden half of like a locket kind of thing.
Should we mention her state?
I don't know if this is going to be uploaded before the character intros or after. But Bria is Rowan's twin sister, and she is dead, very dead, by the gnarled hooks. Obviously, there is reason Rowan is like, I need this information, even if it's in like a grandma's journal.
Her diary. Rowan
Right?
reading old ladies' diaries, seeing what they're up to.
This is what happens is like I will get something in game where I'm like, oh, Rowan will read this later, and then I forget that he has it, and then he doesn't read it for like 4 sessions, and then I look at my notes and then I'll see a one word that I'm like, oh yeah,
Gotta read this.
But yeah, so he has that journal that is important for later, but definitely not till later, because he doesn't read it, by the way. On our way to Warbauer Island, we definitely had more than ample time to do it, but that's not gonna happen.
Us do something on time, funny.
Right. But Heskin and his crew agree to take us to Warbauer Island.
While on the ship, Fearne made friends with a turtle named Ranson, because he comes up later. That's important. And she hung out in the crow's nest with him and showed him her extensive art journal, because he also drew.
Yes, I forgot about that. Fearne did meet Ranson, who's the navigator of the ship. Very, very chill turtle. Sorry, same thing, kind of.
Oh my gosh.
But yes, Fearne and Alton made friends with people on the ship. Rowan did not really, but you know, it's okay.
Rowan being Rowan.
Happens, bro.
But we get to Warbauer Island, and Burp, Alton, Rowan, and Fearne get off, and we're trying to find people. We ended up finding, it looked like a village, or like the leftovers of a village.
What we found is we were investigating one of the cabins. Rowan was by himself. Alton and Burp were helping look around the cabin. They found body parts, and that's when they started seeing figures walking on the horizon. And then by then it was already too late because Rowan, Alton, and Burp all got sleep darted. Fearne is the only one that saved the Constitution saving throw, so
God.
had to go with them, or is like, your friends are gonna die if you don't go.
Yeah. Which then we woke up later in a village of, I believe, lizard folk.
Yes, lizard folk.
So we found the people, just not how was planned.
Alton being sassy the whole fucking time.
Yes, Alton was the sass master. He was not pleased with being darted. I mean, who would be? Rowan was kind of a bitch this entire island, just because Alton, Fearne, and all the people on this island speak Draconic, and he could not. So it was just like listening to like gibberish the entire time.
It's like listening to the growls. Rowan's just over there being a piss baby, like, I can't understand this.
Yeah, no, Rowan was not very helpful on this island at all. You can just imagine that Alton and Fearne are trying to take care of business, and he's just kind of pouting in the back.
Yeah, we ended up talking to the queen.
Which basically is like, yeah, you can like help us, but like you're gonna die because none of our hunters could kill him. This crocodile is what we find out is what is killing all of the people on this island, known as Thousand Teeth, and it's supposedly a big crocodile,
like oversized crocodile. While talking in the village too, we had a conversation with the shaman to get more information, and instead of getting more information of what we wanted, we got information that there was some merfolk missing. So Fearne, being Fearne, was like, let's go talk to the merfolk so we can get information on that. Nobody else wanted to. But good thing we did, because that comes up later too.
Y'all saw mermaids and didn't tell me. I see how it is.
We did.
We met mermaids.
We set out on this island. Not really important, but there was like a lizard folk hunting.
No, we needed him. We needed him to help us find where Thousand Teeth was, because he is the only one that lived through coming home to that, because he was always going after him.
If I remember right, it like we could tell that it was a guy, like it was definitely a lizard folk in the water, and was trying to get his attention, and Alton nat 20s on throwing this rock at him. And just nails
right in the
this
head.
poor bitch right on the forehead, basically.
Oh my god.
Pisses him off.
Yeah, the guy's not really helpful. He's like, no, you guys have to prove yourself because I'm not gonna go find this fucking crocodile just to go kill myself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If you guys can't fight.
Rowan opening his big fucking mouth, gets in the water because he's the one that got called out. And he's so lucky. This motherfucker is the luckiest motherfucker in the world because...
Oh god.
Yeah, no, I can't remember, but like the hunter's like, yeah, you have to prove yourself, and I can't remember. Rowan said something that's not nice, and so he's like, okay, then you do it.
He made him get in the water.
Yeah, Rowan's probably the worst person.
There was
for this
two.
as
There
well.
was two shadows, and you picked the right one by chance. The one that was.
Yeah. Well,
it was a giant
fun
snake.
story. It's old familiar. So Rowan can look through his eyes and sees the two shadows. And of course, Eldritch Blast, the bigger one, because it's like, go big or go home. Especially because he like made fun of this man, so he can't like.
His pride won't allow him.
Rowan's lucky he got a good roll with this too.
Absolutely.
He would have died.
Anyway, I think I nat 20'd my Eldritch Blast. I can't remember. But the shadow ended up being like a huge giant snake or something. Rowan killed it, and then the hunter's like, oh shit, all right. Yeah, I'll take you to Thousand Teeth. Let's fucking go.
Fearne did get a tooth from the snake because that is a good excuse to go somewhere later. Oh, and that is when Fearne made a comment about how well Rowan could take out eyes out of the snake.
Just a normal thing to talk about.
Just, you know.
Fearne wanted the eyeballs for
her
whatever
friend.
Weird reason. For friends. And so Rowan was like, yeah, sure, I can do it. Which he is very skilled at, by the way.
You'll know
Very beautiful.
that.
It's almost like a pro.
Has that come up in game yet, actually?
Nope.
No.
That did not come up at all.
Anyway, yeah, Rowan can take eyeballs out really well. Don't worry about it. It's not important. But we get to Thousand Teeth finally. It is literally a giant ass crocodile, like a big ass giant
Legendary
crocodile. We almost died. Not really, actually. We kind of did good.
Rowan almost died. He got.
Oh yeah, Rowan almost died, but he almost always dies.
That's
fine.
true. It's kind of his MO.
Yeah, well, it's just like he doesn't really get hit a lot. It's just whenever he does get hit, I feel like Eli just always adds an extra dice just for me. Just kidding. But it always just seems like they roll really well. It's just really unfortunate. It's okay. But we killed the crocodile.
Yeah, after killing Thousand Tooth, though, Fearne rolled high enough to see a cave that she's like, I'm going to go peek in there because I'm still looking for this merfolk child. And by chance, he was in there. That kid was in there. And Fearne's like, well, we just can't leave him. So Alton had to put the merfolk on top of this dead alligator as we're dragging this body through the swamp. This poor kid had to sit on top of a dead alligator the whole time.
It happens sometimes. Just like my grandpappy.
God. I believe at this point, Fearne wanted the eyeballs of the crocodile as well. So Rowan
and we got
helped her with
teeth.
that.
We got teeth.
And then we all got teeth.
Oh, heading back from going towards the village, we met another NPC. We met Zal.
Zal is a woman that has cat-like features. Like she's cat ears and a cat tail.
Yeah, she's
a
basically a Nico.
Yeah, basically.
She has 2 different colored eyes. I remember that.
And she doesn't speak any language.
No, she made up her own.
I mean, she made up her own language, so we can't talk to her.
But we end up convincing Zal. Well, we saw her the first time, and then she ran off. Then we went to the village, got Thousand Teeth's teeth. Then when we were leaving, she tried stealing our rowboat to row back to the big ship. And then Fearne, once again, convinced her to not do that and just go with us.
Yeah, so we couldn't figure out exactly where we were going for her. So we're like, I guess we'll just take her back to Bargetide, because where else are we going to take her? When we get back to Bargetide, she kind of is like looking at us, and at that point, Rowan and Alton were kind of like, no,
absolutely not.
She's not going to stay at our clinic because, just very strange woman who also, how we found her, she was trying to trap us, like with a trap. So,
she
real
was trying
trust.
to, catch us. She ends up running off, and he's like, oh, okay, all right, you dicks.
Yeah. So, yeah, we did not invite her. And anyway, so we end up getting back to to the clinic, Rowan's clinic. Rowan's a doctor, I realize. I don't know. That's important information, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rowan is like a doctor, and he actually has like a doctor's clinic, which tends to be the home base of operations for the time being. Obviously, we check in with Salty Jack.
Got
we
our
get
money.
Money. Lots of money.
2,500 each gold.
Yeah, that was a lot of money.
For us at the time.
Alton said that he needed to go take care of some business, and he wanted to go talk to Salty Jack about some things, animal things, while Fearne and Rowan kind of were putzing around, and ended up finding Zal cornered in an alleyway by gnarled hooks. We love those guys.
Fearne had to pretend to be a prostitute while Burp and Rowan at the end of the alley hiding, and she lured this man out of the alley to where Rowan and Burp were. Ended up killing this man, and this is when Fearne does her first thing. She is not an elf. She changed into this man. She's a changeling and turned into this man, took this motherfucker's clothes, was mad at the fact that he was going to give her less money than what he actually was going to, because she pickpocketed this bitch. Took his clothes, pretended to be him, went back down the alley, didn't know it was Fearne, and she got closer. And then when the lady got a little bit of a closer look and asked Fearne a question, and Fearne couldn't answer it, so then they're like, you're not whatever your name is. I forgot his name. Doesn't matter. He's dead.
Rowan was like, keep him alive. Burp said absolutely not, and just fucking destroyed the last one who was alive. And so we ended up killing all the gnarled hooks.
Fearne had to use Spare the Dying very last minute for Zal so she wouldn't bleed out.
Yeah, Zal ended up losing part of her arm, which we took her back to the clinic, and I think Rowan had to finish amputating it. I can't remember. There was like a whole thing. But basically Zal is armless. and is very sad. Later, she does actually make a metal one. She uses all of Rowan's doctor's tools he had in his like office, of which, haha, Zal is an artificer. So then, we now have a good amount of money. And now that we're kind of doing some dangerous things, it's like, hey, we need some magic stuff. So Rowan takes them to like the nicer part of Bargetide, and I say nicer as in like
Not nicer at all.
You know,
It's like a point scale higher.
It's like when you live in a small town and you're like, fuck, they got like a Target. What the hell?
we'll go to the we'll go to the good gas station, basically.
Good gas station.
Yeah,
The one that's down the block, not the one that's down the street.
exactly. But basically, Rowan leads them up to the nicer area, and we find,
Mako's Marvelous Miracles.
and we go in, and we meet Mako the Minotaur, very quirky man, who runs the shop, and having a really fun time looking at things. I believe Fearne got a wand.
He got a wand of wild magic, and Mako's just like, oh, go ahead, try it out. And when she was trying it out, Alton failed.
She set Alton on fire.
Alton, he saved, but got half because Fearne accidentally cast Fireball. And Mako's like, maybe that's not a good idea. And Alton had to basically stop, drop, and roll to get rid of fire on him because
It
of that
happens.
Fireball. And Fearne's just like,
I believe she did buy that wand.
She did buy that one.
She
She
did.
bought that and a companion band one that I still haven't gotten to fucking use, but you know, it's probably gonna end up being sold because why not?
I believe Alton decided he was going to save his money because he wants a pet from Salty Jack while he's been going there to see what he wants. While they were having fun in the store, Rowan was not having fun. Was like
Being a little
spaced
bitch.
out in the corner for like 10 or 15 minutes. So Rowan's patron, who he made his deal with, is the Keeper, or known as the Keeper. That is the name that it gave Rowan. Basically, the room filled with water in Rowan's mind, I guess.
His mind
And
space.
and he ended up like opening his eyes and being in the deep ocean with just black tentacles reaching out. Was like, hey, you've been working for me for like 5 years, and I need you to go kill your best friend Saida. I need her blood.
Oh god.
And Rowan was like, what? Absolutely not. Like, no. Of which then the Keeper started like actually reaching out to like wrap his tentacles around Rowan to kill him, to force him to do it. I don't know. Who knows? This is just but long story short, another like Rowan from a different dimension stopped time and like drug him back through the door, like real Rowan, and was like, haha, hello, it's me, you from a different like place. Yeah, you're actually what we call all risen, which is the potential to do great things or make like great change, but mostly with like the people they surround themselves with. So like it could be great good or even great bad. Normally all risen don't like do this by themselves. It tends to be all risen with groups of people or like their friends or their parties or something. There's a long story, but basically because of that he got to shop around for patrons and ended up meeting his current patron, Vizier, which is a archfey
Sugar
from
daddy.
the court of Arcadia. A very attractive archfey man. And then also met the Ashen Wolf, which is a very large, fiery wolf, literally as it says, who has this, like, tree hell kind of thing.
It's basically hell.
There's, like, burning trees all around, and, like charred. And if you look into the trees, each tree is a person. Like, you can see their faces and stuff, and they're screaming in pain eternally.
I don't like.
Mind you, they're really bad people there in these trees.
Hopefully.
I don't think so. But that's something we'll touch on later.
We'll find that out later.
We'll find find it out later. I don't know. But anyway, under the impression that these are all bad people. But basically, both the Ashen Wolf and Vizier were like, yeah, I'll definitely help you get revenge, because Rowan made a pact to get revenge for his sister. Ooh, spoiler, I guess, but not really. He couldn't pick between the two of them because they both offered really good stuff. And so Vizier's like, well, I want you to pick me, and I'll try and make a deal with the Ashen Wolf to where I can, like, siphon some of his power to give to you, because I also don't want to give you all my power. And the Ashen Wolf agreed, as long as Rowan, like, Vizier is Rowan's patron entirely, but sometimes the Ashen Wolf will ask Rowan to do things that he can, like, go do. And because of that, he gets some fire wolf powers. Ooh boy. And enter in Lear, Rowan's current familiar, who is what we call, is in the form of an Emberborn.
Well, before he does the pact, though, Fearne went with him to go talk to them.
Yes, I skipped a lot of steps. So we're in the shop, and basically Rowan's like, I don't know who to pick. And the other Rowan is like, hey, you don't have to pick now, but you should probably pick soon. Because I can keep you with your powers with the Keeper for a little bit, but, like, that shit's gonna run out. Enters back into his body, I guess, at Mako's shop, where he literally was just zoning out for, like, 25 minutes, I guess, while they were all chilling.
Didn't he wake up to the fact that Fearne was helping Alton get the fire put out on his clothes, and he was just like, what?
Yep, something like that. But left the shop. I believe Rowan bought himself, like, Elvish chainmail because that bitch needs help. A+. And then Rowan went to Saida later that night, and Saida was like, hey, you're traveling with Fearne and Alton. Maybe asking their opinion on your patron would be a good idea. Realized, haven't said, Saida is a very hot captain woman.
Oh, she's so hot.
And is probably Rowan's only friend in Bargetide.
Rude.
I know. Kind of friend. I don't know. He thinks they're friends. Who knows what's going on there? But basically is like, yeah, why don't you have Fearne meet these people? Because Rowan tells Saida everything, so, like, she kind of knows everything going on with the pact, and is like, I have this, like, herb that you both can eat, and she can walk in your dreams with you. And I was like, all right. It was drugs. It was definitely
always
drugs.
And then later that night, that was whenever Rowan was like, hey, Fearne, why don't you try and help me out with this really big decision? And brought Fearne into his dreams, into this, like, door room. Fearne got to meet Vizier, of which taunted her with supposedly knowing her family, which she doesn't know her real family.
She doesn't know her biological mother and father because she is adopted. And Vizier mentioned it and name-dropped her dad and hinted at her mother.
Which I believe the name drop was Shax, right?
Shax was name dropped, and that's all she got. And her mother was dropped is her lustrous majesty.
Who could she be?
Earlier, whenever Rowan was shopping for packs, he had a chance to, one of the patrons is a graveyard, and technically the owner of the graveyard is the Raven Queen, which just happens to be the god that Fearne follows and worshipped her entire life. And Rowan knew this, and Rowan is dumb and does not make good decisions, and kind of sassed the Raven Queen hardcore, and was like, I know Fearne prays to you and you don't fucking answer her, you bitch. Like, you don't deserve her. And she was like, leave. And I was like, alright, cool. Leave. But I don't know if it's because of this, or maybe the Raven Queen was like, maybe I should look more into this. While in Rowan's Mind Palace, Fearne got to go into the graveyard door, and I believe meet her god.
And the Raven Queen basically told her, hey, I have a different task for you. I want you to follow the Changebringer instead. because it seems to be more on par with you. It's your choice, more of your choice, because you didn't get a choice to follow me.
And was like talking about how Fearne was a gift, like a gift to the Changebringer.
You didn't get a choice to follow me, and you don't really get a choice to follow her
No.
either. Yeet, go.
Yeet! Bye, child!
Well, I mean, to be fair, the Raven Queen was like, you don't have to follow her. I want to give you as a gift. But if you don't want this, you can continue to follow me.
She basically was like, you can still worship and talk to me if you want, but you're a gift to the Changebringer.
And then we exit. Rowan officially has a new pact that's not with the Keeper, who is definitely probably an evil little bitch.
We'll find out later, probably.
And Fearne at this point now is like, ooh, now I can follow this Changebringer, I guess.
I'm gonna look into it.
But I believe it was like right after this, like maybe that next night, whenever Rowan found out through Burp that Fearne and Alton were in his room going through his things.
Alton went into Rowan's room and dug through his shit, and Fearne's like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And Burp saw Fearne made Alton leave the room after they found a dress in the drawer. And Fearne's like, we don't really want to bother Rowan with the fact that he might dress in women's clothes sometimes. Let's leave it be. And then Burp, how did that come to be? Because Burp was like, you're not Fearne. Tell me something that only Fearne would know. And
oh, that was whenever you dressed as the prostitute, I believe.
Or
right?
when I dressed as the man. When I dressed as the guy.
Oh, the man.
And Burp is like, are you really Fearne? What did you and Alton do in Rowan's room? What did you find? And that's when Rowan got pissed, which Alton was not there to share the blame, and explain that it was all Alton.
And Rowan basically was just like, fuck you guys, and just kind of like left, and then came back, and Fearne and Alton were still not there. It was just Burp and Zal. And that, I believe, is whenever Fearne, her friend Elle, that you're living with, right? Or the kind of...
She was living at the tavern, but was living with Elle, and Elle was like, you need to adventure more, you need to get out of the house. I can't keep you in here forever. And
I believe Elle worships the Changebringer, which is why it was like, ooh, time to do some monk montage shit.
Get slow!
Because Elle is a monk of the Changebringer, if I remember.
I'm pretty sure.
And so there was a whole week where we were all split up, and Fearne switched to a monk, which I believe Fearne did end up coming back about a week later.
Yep, just literally knocked on his door and was like, hey.
Like, didn't expect you to come back, because Alton
did not.
Never came back. Alton went off to do his own thing at this point, and spoiler alert, will never be returning, at least at this point.
Even if I want him to guest star sometimes, so
one day, maybe Alton will return.
Please,
who knows?
Alton. Somewhere you can be like, who's this bitch?
Our shifter man. But Alton went off to do better things. He was much better than well, Alton didn't really get along with Rowan very well. They kind of like bitched at each other and teased
constantly.
each other.
It's really funny.
Constantly. Yeah. So, him leaving really wasn't like, ooh, this is what happened. It was kind of like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, that makes sense. However, Fearne and Rowan then go to see Elle, I believe, to return boots that she let, like, the three of them borrow whenever they were going to go hunt in the swamps for that crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were in there, Fearne starts unloading about, I believe, was it the meeting with Vizier? And, like, possibly who your dad and mom were? I can't remember.
She hinted at talking to somebody that knew who her father was, because she wasn't going to completely tell Elle about Rowan's shit. And so she just, like, hinted that somebody that Rowan knows told me that they might know who my father is. I kind of want to know. I don't know about my mom, but he hinted at my mother as well and knowing her. And all the stuff that was happening, like, told her everything of, like, all the missions that they did.
Which, while she was explaining this, there was one other patron in Elle's shop. And, lo and behold, enter Felinor Greywind, master fucking asshole.
Beautiful man, but ass.
Felinor is a elf, very pompous, has a smirk on his face like he always knows what's better than everyone else.
Just a jackass. In general.
Yes. And while Fearne was giving out, or was trying to talk to Elle about all this personal stuff, Felinor was just listening and chiming in. While Rowan is like, what the fuck? Like, what? No.
You know this guy?
Felinor, being the asshole he is like, LOL, yeah, you guys are kind of funny, aren't ya? And basically overheard Fearne, I believe, talking about Rowan's clinic, or that's where she's been for a few times. And then I believe Rowan was like, can you, like, fucking leave? And Felinor was like, all right, sure, yeah, whatever. And left.
He had a bunch of weird stuff on him.
Yeah, lots of weird stuff. Like, kind of like a collector of everything, it seems like. Like a lot of godly symbols, some magic items, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, a weird tattoo.
But definitely like a sketchy guy. And he definitely enjoyed pushing into business and heard a lot about Fearne's personal life. Later, we get back to Rowan's clinic to reconvene, and lo and behold, guess who's there? Felinor.
Burp let him in. Burp let him in.
But Felinor went to the clinic, and then we were having a weird conversation with Felinor where he was just like, I don't know, you guys kind of seem like the type that would want adventure, and there's diamonds on this island known as the Whispering Cove, like big ass diamonds, like not just normal diamonds, like huge, like head-sized diamonds. And he was like really cryptic whenever we kept asking like, why are you telling us this information? And he was just kind of like, I don't know, you guys seem like you'd want it.
Don't you need money? You guys need diamonds. I heard you guys needed diamonds for a spell.
Yes, which Rowan, at this point, I believe we had leveled up. And Vizier, well, he learns all of his spells through Vizier. And Vizier had told him that there's a spell, Revivify, which at this point, Rowan is thinking, I might be able to bring back Berea. So we need diamonds, which obviously, spoiler alert, it's not going to work. You know, that like 1 minute window kind of cock blocks that.
It's been gone for a little while.
Yeah, a little bit. But Felinor leaves, and it's just like, well, you guys don't have to go get the diamonds. You just guys seem like you'd be interested.
Bye.
Haha. And just leaves. Of which Rowan's just like, wow, what a fucking asshole.
But we do take him up on his offer, because we're dumb.
Yes. We need diamonds, and he is right about that. So we pack up Zol and Burp, and we head over to our beautiful friend Heskin and crew, of which we hopefully think they still owe us. And whenever we're like, hey, want to take us to the Whispering Cove? We heard there's diamonds. He was like, yeah, we'll do it for free. But then whenever you guys get the diamonds, like, put the crew in on some of it, and we'll call it even. I was like, oh, hell yeah. So Heskin and crew take us to the Whispering Cove.
Bum, bum, bum.
Which is still in the archipelago again. It's quite the trip, though. But we end up getting to the Whispering Cove and docking, and the crew is like, yeah, we're gonna stay on the ship. And we, like, look at a map, kind of, like, realize that there's a lot of jungle on this island. And might be a good idea to have someone that knows the island or can guide us rather than just like being like, let's go get some diamonds. Ho, ho, ho. So we had to, of course, the nearest tavern.
The Red Sun Tavern. Fearne had tried their specialty drink and it tasted very weird.
It tasted like iron, I believe.
Coppery,
iron,
whiskey. And Fearne's like, this is probably blood, and doesn't drink the rest of it.
And it was called the Vosmus Drip, because the Vosmus family kind of was like, runs this island. It will be important later on. And that's where we met our next NPC who is joining us, Rayla. Rayla is a human, kinda. At least from first meeting, a human.
Only part-time.
Yeah, only part-time. A nervous human who really likes tea. Very nervous. Somehow every time on this island that Rowan tries to be kind of nice because she seems nervous, ends up kind of like hitting on her, but not really. It's not supposed to be.
Because Fearne tries hitting on her.
But it was always just like so awkward and funny. She agrees to be our guide and basically tells us that like we definitely are going to want to be quiet in the jungle because there are like weird things out there. I was like, okay, Burp's out of the question.
Yep. She was heading down there anyways.
Yes, and so she's like, I'll take you along with me. Zal is really hard to communicate with, and so it was also probably not a good idea. So it led, like, is it just going to be us three? And so we decided to go and get a room in a inn for the night to then meet Rayla in the morning. And that is where we end up meeting the one and only Marie.
Oh my god, so like, all these fuckers are asleep, right? Just easy targets. So she like sneaks in and, you know, maybe steals from them.
A little bit.
Maybe wakes them up. Maybe tries to beat the shit out of them and run.
There was a lot. It was not a great introduction to a trusting, lasting friendship, but here we are. But yes, we met Marie. I believe she had stolen from Fearne first, and Fearne did not wake up. And then I rolled high enough to wake up as she was leaving my room. And Rowan immediately is like, absolutely the fuck not. And like runs out and is me like, Fearne! Fearne!
And Marie's like, oh shit, and tries to book it.
Yeah, and then Fearne doing cool monk shit.
Rowan poofs in Lear.
Slides between Rowan's legs as Lear is on the other side of the hallway. Ends up getting Marie to go back in Rowan's room because the door's open.
Marie tries to hide under the bed.
With a nat 1, so she really thought she was hidden so well. And then I believe Fearne like grabbed her and like
grabbed
her in a
her.
sheet.
And then Marie summoned her spirit guardians because she was scared as fuck. And they started beating the shit out of everyone.
And Fearne punched her a couple of times really good and made her pass out to make the spirit guardians disappear.
Did I mention Marie's like a 1 foot tall cat?
I love that.
Because they're getting their asses beat by these freaking sexy Chippendales halflings.
Oh yeah.
That is
the
important.
sexiest of halflings.
Oh god.
Fearne ended up using hands of healing to bring her back to be like, we need information, what are you doing?
She's just like, I just want money, leave me alone.
Of which Rowan, not happy, but also kind of like, you know, maybe 3 people going out into a fucking jungle is not the best idea. And obviously she's sneaky because she fucking stole from us.
Fucking great idea. That's
And then
cat.
also had that spell with the halflings that were beating the shit out of us. So it's like, maybe we'll invite her to come if she wants, because, you know, obviously there'll be payment.
Marie's like, these people just beat the shit out of me, I guess I gotta come.
And so thus, we begin the party. We meet Rayla that morning, and we head out into the jungle.
We find out that Rayla is heading towards a building called the Shattered Tower.
Yeah, which is literally, as it sounds, just kind of like a decrepit fucking tower at the south end of the
We have no
fucking,
idea why.
island.
It's like, why are you going there?
The jungle, truthfully, sucks ass. Like, the entire time, it's just constantly little things that just are fucking ending us. That, like, first night, I can't remember who was on watch.
Marie.
But there's some kind of, like,
Mhm.
lump. And, wakes up Fearne and Rowan immediately is like, let's be quiet and, like, see what it is. And then you just hear a thunk because Marie had shot a crossbow at the random lump, which ends up being gorillas.
Listen, it was scary.
At least she
really
scared
funny.
Ma. She scared Ma.
And basically just shit like that the rest of the whole fucking trip, except for one night. We're sleeping and Marie is on watch again.
It's always Marie.
And we run into the scariest thing, I think.
She's just minding her own business and she hears something and she's like, what is that? And it's like, what is that? She's like, she's like, I'm gonna go investigate this bullshit. She leaves the camp and like crawls out in the grass for a bit. And she's like, I really don't know what the sound is. And then it just keeps repeating everything she says all of a sudden, like right behind her. And she just like poofed up and like ran back to camp and woke everyone up.
Because Because I know whenever you ran back to the camp, we were all like, what are you doing? Why are you like, what are you doing? Then it started copying us and scared us. And
Oh yeah, we booked it. We literally packed up camp, got on the fucking boat, and like booked it out.
We were like, who needs a long rest? Not us.
because we saw a human standing at the edge of the river, too.
Like a figure.
Mhm. Didn't like it.
Anyway.
I know whenever we got startled, Fearne had grabbed Rayla's hand and felt something weird about it.
Yes, there was something weird about Rayla's hand, which also comes up.
Sounds a
But, Shamar is really into like legends and like superstitions. And so Rowan has a lot of like weird story knowledge of like weird shit, like, ooh, yeah, that's a fucking story they tell kids. And it's like, this kind of sounds like the ancient fear, which shouldn't be a real thing. But anyway, we don't run into the ancient fear again for now.
We'll put a pin in
And
that.
we do end up making it to the Shattered Tower, which we do find out was Rayla's home. The hand thing, we don't figure out what's going on with Rayla till the second run-in with Ancient Fear, right? Okay, the tower could be like a whole fucking hour talk on its own, but we'll try and make this short and sweet. The Shattered Tower is very important and is a very pivotal moment for our party because we learn a lot of information that's very important to a lot of people. So we find out that the Shattered Tower is actually from this is owned by an ancient mage whose name is Velosh. This tower is literally a tower of nightmares. There's like 30 rooms or something, but they're each a different dimension and they each have their own name and a different like thing going on. We didn't actually make it to many rooms in the tower. The way we got transported to the major center of the tower is by drinking a water, like a weird water, and just got teleported immediately to a wrestling ring.
Yes! Oh god, the wrestling ring!
God.
And we ended up fighting stone golems. And winning, but it was rough.
You gotta tell them the
You can't leave
names.
out their
Tell them the
names.
names. It's important.
Oh my god.
Please.
Okay, we have Dwayne the Rock Gollum Johnson. We have
Stone Cold Steve Gollum.
and then
John Cement.
we fought those three of them. It was quite a fucking fight. We ended up winning though. Marie kind of got the shit kicked out of her and was like, I'm gonna take a little nap. And we're like, okay, we're not gonna go that far. We'll be right back because there's like 4 rooms or like 4 doors. So we're like, well, maybe we'll at least check out like a door and see like where they go before and then come back and wait for Marie to wake up. So we ended up going through a door. Lots of desks surrounding a like pedestal in the center where there's like an orb sitting. I believe Fearne went to go like look at the orb and Rowan was looking at all the notes on the desk. Fearne then touches the orb. While Rowan is reading the notes, we find out very quickly, both of us, that this is an orb of dragon kind, which kind of is like, long story short, like houses like a dragon spirit inside of it and you could attune with it, but it's kind of like a, are you in control or is the dragon soul in control? Lol. Definitely from the notes. And talking to the dragon inside, which I think was Zalatash?
Something like that.
These are very dangerous. And there's only like 5 or so like in the world. And if it's in the wrong hands, very bad. Also, kind of got the impression, I believe from the dragon inside, that so Fearne has a bag of holding. Thank you, rich daddy elf, for that. Fearne is rich, by the way.
Fearne is noble.
Yeah, Fearne's adopted family is fucking rich as fuck.
Voted.
They run the largest Raven Queen temple known anywhere besides the one on the God Island.
There you go. Anyway, rich family, and whenever Fearne left home, Dad was like, yo, take this, and gave a bag holding. But basically find out from the orb, or the dragon in the orb, that if the orb is outside of this tower, or another dimension, into the real world, it like sends out like a whole fucking beacon to call dragons to its position. So not a great thing anyway. Either way, you know.
It's like catnip for dragons.
And we put it in Fearne's bag, and we're like, maybe we can take it to Adela. Well, Rowan is not saying that. Fearne's like, maybe we can take it to Adela. And Rowan's like, yeah, maybe you can take it to Adela. Because at this point, Rowan is like, I'm not leaving Bargtide, ever. I have people to murder, so, you know. I believe there's one more room we explore while Maria's asleep, which we find out is actually Rayla's old room. And there were just some, like, romance novels.
That's where Fearne stole a bunch of books. Took a bunch of books.
Yeah, romance novels. Inside this kind of, like, really sad, dreary little room. Where the only outside contact was, like, a chessboard through, like, a windowed mirror, kind of thing. Which, obviously, we can assume Velosh played chess with her, but that was it. Like, that was it, and it's very sad. Which we did, I believe Rowan took a novel, and then Fearne took, like, all the rest of them. I can't remember.
A bunch of romance novels. It's like, yeah, I'll read these.
Rowan, I believe, did find that there was a weird purple scale. Like,
he ended up,
in the sheets.
He ended up giving it to Fearne because she was like, "Ooh, that's cool."
Yes. But found a weird purple scale, like in the sheets of the bed. Then we go back to Marie. We kind of explore the tower a little more. We walked into like a room, or we go into one of the weird doors, ends up like a dust area where none of us can breathe. Fearne moves on a little further. It's like, nah, this ain't worth it, and comes back. We find like a room that looks like a factory for golems. We come back. Then we end up in the worst room of them all, which is called Limbo. And
the best room.
So awful. A lot went on in this room.
A lot.
But basically, if you think it and you roll high enough, it becomes real. And there were these little creatures, I can't remember what they're called.
The frog things.
Frogs.
They're little like frog people that I believe are from this dimension. But basically we were in a fight with them, and we can see where we need to go. There's a door, it's very far away. And basically it's this nightmare of getting across this room. Marie had an angel and like wings.
Fearne was a giant.
Yeah, Fearne was a giant. Rowan got yeeted into the ground.
Got chased by some cops.
Yeah, so a whole fucking thing. We end up getting to the other end of the room after basically a drugged fucking adventure happened. And we get through, and we literally, it's just an empty room with a lever that says shatter. And it's like, well,
guess if it says so.
So we pulled the lever, and what we didn't know is what it does is it literally shatters all the dimensions and kind of like puts them all in one place. So they're all kind of like meshed up. And so we got split up to where Marie and Fearne were together, and then Rowan was by himself. Rowan found flying dogs. Fearne and Marie found a giant fucking evil ass like ancient
creature
being that gave Fearne madness.
For a while, nobody noticed.
Marie noticed. She just thought you being fucking weird.
Yeah, like kind of like laughing hysterically, I believe. Which Rowan was just like, maybe Fearne just doesn't do well under pressure.
I think that was Marie's also. She was just like, yep, there's some crazy shit going on here.
Yeah. But we end up meeting up because the dogs fly, so we all get on the two dogs and we go up, or they know where they're going. We end up finding an office, and then I believe that there is like a lever that says mend. I can't remember. Which obviously we pull, and it puts the tower back together. But now we have a whole fucking wizard office to, you know, loot. We got so much loot. I'm trying to think of the most important loot. We found a ship and a bottle.
That's very important.
Yes.
Very important.
The most important.
The most important.
Bunch of notes.
Lot of notes about like golems, which will end up being important later.
Marie got a flying broom and a love potion.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Never forget. I will use it, I promise.
There was a lot of stuff that we like sold for gold. Rowan found a recipe for a greater health potion, which is important, I guess, because now he makes it. So, you know. We also find in the back of the office area, there's like a vault door that leads down to like, it's like a weird clock, which we find out actually can control the time to where like the time in the tower is either slower or faster than the time outside.
We turned it back to normal.
Which is why Rayla never showed up.
Yeah, she went to go survey the area.
And now we obviously know why. It's because of the time thing. And we set it back to normal to where it's like the same time is happening outside the tower as inside the tower. Rowan brewed something to cure Fearne's madness.
Being sassy the whole time.
Yeah, a little bit. Also important. There was like kind of like a window door kind of thing, and there were buttons that you could press,
dun, dun,
and it
dun.
changed what you were looking at.
Foreshadowing.
So the first button we pressed, it showed a giant expanse of sand, and I'm pretty sure like purple worms.
Yeah, something
purple-ish worms or something moving. And there was also a building, which thank you, Nat 20. Rowan rolled a Nat 20 for perception and noticed an insignia that he recognized on the building, which, lo and behold, one of the patrons he had a chance to talk to was called the Accursed Archive, and it was that symbol. So who knows? Was that actually the Accursed Archive? Maybe we'll explore it later. I don't know. Then we pressed the second button, and it was a jungle with like a raptor or something running in front of the door.
And then the third one was a lake with this weird horse thing that had multiple legs.
But I believe that's the most important stuff that we found in Velash's tower, other than Velash himself. Velash is very ancient, like an ancient mage, not from this time period.
Like
for
Age
sure.
of Arcana time period.
Yeah. And is also very well known by most people who study magic. Like if they're like really into it, which will come into play later.
Not much happens after that. On our way back, though, we stopped because we got curious about another cave. Because we thought we'd actually find diamonds in that cave.
Oh, yeah.
And we went into this cave. We saw a cave because we saw a cave and we saw two figures in the distance to avoid them. Let's see, we snuck into the cave, and Fearne's the only one that failed the hide whenever those people came to check it out. So they saw her, and they're like, oh, maybe you shouldn't be here. Maybe you guys should leave. And she's just like, oh, yeah, okay, I was just curious, you know, haha, I'm into history, and I'm just curious about the tomb and the statue and blah, 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 and ends up making her leave, and she's like, okay, I'll just come back later. Those motherfuckers stayed right beside the cave, and then our three other dumbasses decided to go deeper without her.
Yeah, we did go in the tomb without Fearne.
And Fearne ended up being alone in the darkness, afraid of the ancient fear coming back, so climbed a tree to hide.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're having the time of our lives. We go into this tomb, which actually does seem like a tomb. However, we keep going further and find like this whole room with like these really large like potted plants. I believe we went and looked in the soil because there's like these really weird plants that have this like red bloom at the end of them. And like if we dig in the soil, there was like corpses in them.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I think it was Rowan that saw a nose sticking out of the soil and he started digging and was like, what the fuck? Fearne decided it's a good time to try to go back, but those motherfucking guys were still there. So she turned into her father, pretended to be part of the Vosmus family, walked up to them here, and she ended up like degrading these men just enough to be able to be like, well, I'm going down there. You're not stopping me. You two do your job and watch. You watch and you do your job. And like ended up going down there into the door, and Rayla had pinned her to the floor because you guys hid, and Rowan had to help convince Rayla that was Fearne, because that's when Rayla found out that she was a changeling.
Which Rayla took in stride, was just kind of like, all right. I mean, to be fair, her home was the fucking tower. I'm sure she's seen some weirder shit. It's just like, all right, cool. We're all together, and we find out that there are like jail cages with people in them who seem to be like infected with like plant spores or something. And they were like, it's too late for us. We ended up having to fight them because they like turned into like weird
zombies.
And kind of assumed that that's like same shit that was kind of happening outside with the corpses, the corpse flowers things. We then look at the desk that was in the room outside after we killed these people. Very sad. And we found a note that was talking about like how we have to keep the facade up. And we also found a giant fucking diamond.
Two giant fucking
yes.
diamonds. Two giant diamonds.
2 giant fucking diamonds. So then surmised that the diamonds were actually just a ploy to get more people to come to the island to do these weird, maybe corpse things? Who knows?
Signed by your sister, signed Arabella Vosmus.
So it was like, Vosmus family equals bad. Then we decide to like, we gotta get back. We gotta get back to the town. We kind of have to decide what we're gonna do because obviously the Vosmus family is kind of bad.
Yeah. Whenever leaving the cave though, Fearne walked out as her dad. Had to try to distract the guys in the front of the cave, but
oh yeah, we murdered these men.
They turned out to be shifters.
And then after that, I believe we decided that we're gonna stay the night at the cave because it was already dark. And Rayla like left.
Yeah, because she got mad that Marie had the diamonds in her bag.
Because Marie had put the diamonds in her bag.
And didn't tell
anybody.
anybody.
Then I believe we were like, oh yeah, what was in the bag? And then Marie was like, oh, I don't know. And that's whenever we found out there was the diamonds. And then Rayla was like, and just like left. And Rowan kind of like followed her. And she was like slapping herself with like one of those like flails. Like, you know, like the Monty Python
it's like they're like called nine tails or cat tails or something like that. It's like a whip with like metal prongs on the end.
Yeah, but basically it was like smacking her back with it, and he was like real concerned. It was like, whoa, and she basically like told him that like her dad like lives in her mind and is constantly telling her to like kill people. And Rowan didn't understand at first and was like, yeah, I know that feeling. Like, I had the keeper in my mind for a while telling me to do weird things. Definitely not related to the eyeballs, just saying. But and she was like, no. I mean, he's literally in my mind constantly telling me to kill you guys and everyone else. And it makes me so mad. And she was like, so I had to leave. I got angry and he was just like, kill them. And he was like, oh shit. She asked to be left alone. So he like left her. But now I don't remember if he like told Fearne and Marie that like
a little bit
she has like a voice in her head. I think I can't remember, like vaguely enough to where it was like, oh, maybe we don't antagonize the scary woman with a whip, Marie specifically.
Yeah.
Listen, Marie wants nothing to do with her.
But on the way back, we run into the ancient fear again.
It was like we all had to roll like wisdom saves constantly to not get afraid,
had to
and
scatter.
if we did, we bolted. Yeah, like in different directions. It ends up being Rowan and Marie, they find each other.
Fearne alone and Rayla alone.
Fearne, Rowan, and Marie end up like kind of grouping up. And then the ancient fear comes in. Oh boy. Creepy.
Boy.
Yeah.
Like construct looking puppet motherfucker.
Scarecrow.
With like, it looks like souls inside of it.
So
like,
scary.
Like glowing gem like torso thing.
As we're fighting this thing, we hear something else coming. And it ends up being a giant, like a purple lizard.
Like dragony looking. Yeah, like monster, basically.
Fearne puts 2 and 2 together. Hey, is this you, Rayla? And it ended up being Rayla.
Yes. And we ended up killing the ancient fear.
Getting out of there.
Well,
getting rid of it. We didn't kill it. It spirited itself away for another day.
And we made our way back to the campfire. Rayla was really mad. Like she transformed back into herself, and we found out that she has like the reason that her arm felt weird to Fearne is because it was like purple scaled like arm.
She's got a dragon tail and a dragon arm.
And she was like livid. She was like, you guys left me, I was so fucking scared. And so she like gave in to her dad and transformed into that purple monster. And it was really just a 50-50 chance on if she attacked us or attacked the ancient fear.
We were
and,
lucky.
Luck had it. She attacked the ancient fear, and that was the only reason. And then Fearne rolled really well to like calm her down. But she kind of like left us for the night, and it was really clear after that moment she was really done with us as we were traveling. There was only one other night that was kind of important, and that was whenever Vizier was like, "LOL, Rowan, you can summon me. I want to meet your friends." Ha ha ha. This was, however, after Marie had kind of like told us that she's not really a cat,
She's cursed.
Mm-hmm.
that she was a cursed halfling
Yep.
because she stole an archfey's horn.
Like you do, you know.
You know. And Rowan's like, "Have you ever blown in it?" And she's like, "LOL, I don't have lips." So then Rowan's like, "Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm a dumbass. I'll do it." So he blew into the horn. Nothing happened. It was like, "Are you sure?" And kind of gave it back to her. Found that out about Marie. And not saying Rowan kind of has a big mouth, but was kind of like discussing this with Vizier in his mind. Like, weird. Vizier was like, "Hey, I want to meet your friends. You can do this, and right now I can like have like an avatar or kind of like a illusionary
Fake body.
kind of, or not illusionary, but like kind of like a fake
Illusion.
body."
Definitely not an illusion.
Nope.
So he did it, and so Marie got to meet Vizier.
You mean chased around the camp and harassed?
Yeah, definitely was petting Marie, like an actual cat.
He's just like, "I know that you think I'm good looking," and was teasing Fearne about the fact that she thought he was good looking.
But basically was a great nightmare for everyone, and Marie was very harassed. Fearne was felt very victimized.
Rowan had regrets, question mark.
Yeah, then Rowan kind of felt bad afterward. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but it did matter that we did meet Vizier. And I believe Marie also then told us that the archfey that cursed her was named Darnia.
Actually, I think Vizier brought up Darnia. Actually, when Vizier appeared, he appeared as Darnia
Darnia first. And scared Marie.
That's right. And then the implication that Vizier knows Marie and her situation was there,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know if we've ever explored.
I don't think we ever did. We never explored that. We never asked Vizier.
Marie's been wanting to ask, but you know.
You know, Vizier like not answering his phone right now.
It's on hold.
We'll get there.
Anyway.
We'll get there.
But so yes, now we get to the river thing where we're trying to cross back into town. I believe Marie crossed first on the flying broom and then just sent it back.
And then Rowan.
And then Rowan crossed next. And the moment that Rowan set foot and was sending the broom back, he was there with Marie, and these fledglings showed up, like a group of them. And they were like, "LOL, you're wanted by the Vosmus family, you bitches."
Yeah, and Fearne and Rayla could not see or hear what was going on. Just saw like people standing there, and Fearne's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be courteous. I'm gonna let Rayla go first." And Rayla's like, "What are you doing? You go first." Fearne's like, "Okay, fine."
But Marie bolted. She was like, "Absolutely the fuck not. I don't care about these people. What the fuck? No. I'm living another day. Peace." Ran off. And then I believe they sent one guy after her, and the rest were kind of like talking to Rowan, of which they were like, well, Rowan was trying to talk them out of this situation because like nervous sweating, he's there by himself at this moment. It was just like, "LOL, we'll work for you. Clearly we're good at our job. Or we're good at what we do because you know about us." And they were like,
they tried convincing Rowan to kill his friends, and he could work for them.
"But only you. Fuck the others." And then he was like, "Oh, this is real awkward." And it was like, no. Of which then enter combat. Fearne's like halfway across the river. Marie has like two men like searching for her in the woods, like next door. Yeah. And then the others were like approaching us. And then lo and behold, a card, I believe, like flies out of nowhere and hits the ground in front of them and explodes. And we meet another NPC,
Benji man.
Which is Benji, our handsome man. Benji is a half-orc.
The French accent. He's very hard to understand. Fearne cannot understand him half the time too when he talks too fast or is telling a story and he's like, what?
That's okay. Rowan and him have that in common, except for Rowan doesn't have a French accent. Though speaking of accents, I really hope you all enjoy bad accents because you're in for a ride.
None of us know how to make one.
No, bad accents. But speaking of sexy Benji.
Yes, Benji. He's a half-orc. I believe he's a barbarian, at least class-wise. And very charismatic, by the way. Fuck him. But out of jealousy, but it's okay.
Fearne now has 2 crushes. Screams and by panic.
Basically, he enters the fight. Benji and Rowan then are fighting these people, and then Marie's like, lol spirit guardians, bitch.
Halflings. Smack, smack, smack. Smack some booties.
The Chippendale halflings are back, and she's like murdering these men in the woods.
Yes, you do.
Fearne finally makes it.
Yeah, Fearne helps beat the shit out of people with her monk ways. This is the first time Rowan got to see her in action as a monk, and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the fact that Fearne is definitely 800 times stronger than Rowan hurts inside sometimes. Anyway, we end up destroying these men. Rayla comes over. Then we meet Benji officially, and he was like, yeah, I'm a mercenary, and the Vosmus family hired me, and then I found out that they're kind of pieces of shit, and I want to, like, take them on. Someone with morals, fuck.
We end up taking him with us.
We do end up taking him with us, and we do talk more and get to know him and
tavern.
Rayla, and Rayla definitely likes him a lot, because she's like, yes, finally someone who isn't bickering, and then also is like, I want to help people. We end up deciding, like, yeah, we'll go ahead and, like, help because it feels wrong at this point to kind of, like, leave knowing, like...
Leaving this. During talking with him, though, Benji reveals that he knows something about a person that is after Fearne. That is also a bounty hunter, mercenary person.
Because I believe after hearing that he was a mercenary...
Fearne brought it up.
Fearne brought it up and was asking if he recognized this person.
Benji basically was like, yeah, I know about him. Almost everybody knows about him. He's not somebody I want to mess with. I stay out of his way. He stays out of my way. But he's not a good person. Told us that his name was Theodoric, Blessed Breaker, and said that he was under the cloaked serpent. And was like, he's just somebody that, you know, I don't get in his business. He doesn't get in mine. Not a good person. But, you know, is what it is. Not all mercenaries are good people. And then left it at that.
Which, again, character intro hopefully explains, even if you're, but Fearne left home because this dwarf was after her.
Because somebody saw her shapeshift and got a hold of Theodoric, because they know that he does not like changelings, and sent him after her, and that's why she booked it.
But we decide we're gonna go storm the Vosmus family. We really need help, though. Benji's like, I got friends everywhere. I got people who come help.
He got it like a militia out of nowhere, this bitch.
He's charismatic,
yeah,
man.
I don't understand. Benji is someone I want to explore because he has so many friends. I'm scared.
He has connections.
So many connections.
So crazy.
Benji gets a militia to go in. We have Rayla, who's coming with us, and just knowing the archipelago and how long the little eel, which is Shamar and Eamon's ship, has been gone, there's chances are that they might actually be on the Whispering Cove
I forgot about that.
at this time to fill up before going home to Bargetide with their their sea monsters and shit. We just happened to catch them.
We got Calamite on our side.
We got the power.
Marie and Fearne got to meet Shamar
Officially.
and Eamon again, officially.
Like, actually got to have a conversation with them instead of just waving and be like, hey, what's up?
I just remember, I don't know if this was the first time or the second time, where Fearne was joking, being like, "Oh, yeah, Rowan's kind of an asshole," and Shamar went immediately dad mode and was like, "What?
Yeah.
What did you say?
What did you say about my lovely little son?
Have you met your son?
But, anyway, Eamon, who's Rowan's actual dad, took him to dinner and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna come with you, I think. I'm not gonna let my son go in by himself." And it was like one of those like, oh moments, like, ooh.
Dad really does care about me.
Rayla, Burp, Benji, and then the Benji militia went to the front to kind of like take on the forces that would be there for the mansion.
Just as a distraction.
Rowan, Marie, Fearne, Eamon, and Calamite would actually go through the river and enter the back area of the mansion.
There was nobody in there. We found a room, and then we were being fucking weirdos in this room, and Calamite found a vase full of stuff, and it was like, we're all like debating, what do we do with it? What is this? And he just like threw shit on himself. He's like, bye, we're gonna try this. Disappears. Him and Marie. Rowan and Fiorne are having this conversation like, what the fuck just happened? Oh my god, Marie, Calamite, oh my god. So by the time that
And Eamon is just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, when we get on the other side, it's another mansion, but in a weird, dark place. And Calamite and Marie had already
explored a little.
We ended up sneaking through a window, weird zombie people, killing a bunch of those, meeting more fledglings, and then we opened a door to people having a meeting.
While we were killing fledglings, we're finding out that there were gnarled hooks here, because gnarled hooks have like a tattoo on their forearm. Immediately, Eamon and Rowan were like, we have to kill everyone in this fucking place. Yeah, so then it was like a question of like, why are they here? Rowan also found like a vampire diary, quote unquote. I don't know.
Vampire diary.
He hasn't been able to read it all, but he has it. The Vosmus diary. Yeah, he just has a lot of diaries.
He's got a lot of books. He's got a lot of books of people's shit.
Important, kinda, not really. Saida, whenever Rowan was talking to her, and she was like, maybe you should like have your friends help you decide your pact because you're traveling with them, stole Bloody Maggie's diary from him and was like, I'm not gonna give you this back until you work with these people, and no, don't be a dick.
I forgot about that too.
Forgot, that is kind of important. We go into a room and there's a meeting going on. There is like a weird figure with like a octopus like mask on. There's a vampire man. Well, like assuming a vampire man, he's like very nicely like dressed, definitely a Vosmus vibe. And then there was like a very piratey, gnarled hook looking dude. And the vampire man's like, we have interruptions, and like snapped his fingers. And while Calamite and Eamon are out holding, because there was like a room with a lot of like zombies and hooks, like gnarled hooks in there.
Yeah.
Like they're like, you guys go, we're gonna hold them off. So it was just Marie, Rowan, and Fearne that entered the room. But Vosmus snapped his fingers and we get transported to some fucking, I don't know, greenhouse in the middle of the fucking nowhere.
You're sure something.
With the pirate man, who tells us his name is Faladar, while the Vosmus guy and the octopus mask man are gone. Faladar then opens his mouth and this is one of the juiciest RP moments we've had, and I'm so sad we didn't record it.
So sad.
God, it was so good.
Depressing,
okay.
But so good.
It's okay. But Faladar was like, immediately recognized Rowan because Rowan's sister Bria and him are twins.
They look exactly
and they look
the same.
Very, literally the same. Only obviously Bria's prettier. Hopefully.
So mean to say about yourself.
Basically recognizes Rowan immediately and is like, oh, I think I remember your sister.
He said that Rowan sprang faster than she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Rowan is a very emotional man, and whenever he the moment he was like, oh, this bitch killed Bria, he was like tearing up because he's so pissed. As he's talking, Rowan casts one of his spells that he's never cast before, which is Witch Bolt, and crits on Faladar. Seemed so fitting for the story.
It was so good.
And basically like ripped off his arm, almost ripped off his arm. Like his arm's worthless, like where the bolt like hit him and shit. And Faladar immediately like collapses to the ground, and like Rowan's going up to like grab him and get answers when a fucking vine whips
Just
out of this fucking greenhouse out of nowhere,
Grabs his ass
and drags this man into the back.
Fearne, doing dope monk shit, just sprints away. It's like, I'm gonna follow, and runs and leaves Marie and Rowan by themselves. Fearne just fucking disappears into the darkness, and they're like, what the fuck?
He's very much so like, fucking hell. Why?
Rowan and Marie run into the front to try and find where they went, and Fearne is very close to this giant ass fucking plant, which you find out is like a corpse flower. And it has Faladar in its vines because, you know, that bitch is basically dead. And we have to fight this sucker, okay? And
Marie almost dies like
it's
what,
very
5
hard.
times.
Marie literally passed out like 4 times.
Yeah, it was rough.
Rowan was using his healing light. So it basically, Marie would go down, he would use 1 healing light to make sure she doesn't have to roll death saving throws. And then she passed out, 1 healing light, passed out, 1 healing light. That was the entire fight. We were literally like, Marie's dead.
By the end of the fight, Fearne only has 1 key point left. That's important.
In the mansion before this weird fucking space mansion that we're in, Marie had found like a knife randomly.
Gave it to Fearne.
And Fiorne took it out and like threw it because it's like, we're gonna die. What the fuck? What are we doing? Because we're all like hurt. Marie's like dying.
She ran out of darts. She didn't have any more key points besides like 1 key point left. And she's like, oh, I got the dagger. I can throw it as a dart. Takes it out and throws it. And as she's throwing it, it turns into this gigantic monster guy.
It's terrifying looking.
With a sword. Yeah, cleaves into the plant.
Turns around and almost kills them, but Fearne made the sacrifice to slit her own wrist, use my blood to send this thing back, and I think it was Marie or Rowan that helped heal her.
I think that was what Rowan used his last like healing light on. Actually, I lied. I think he had 1 healing light left after Fearne. Used it to bring Faladar just back.
Barely.
To like, barely. And is like, I need answers. And Faladar is giving him a lot of answers, basically being like, I wasn't the one, I was just following orders. The one who actually wanted her dead is Meldfin, Captain Meldfin, which Captain Meldfin is known as like a legend in Bargetide, as he was one of the Ravager kings who died 7 years ago.
Longer than that, like 15.
15, I don't know, a long time ago. So now it's like, what the fuck? Also told Rowan that Bria was just killed because she got into things she wasn't supposed to.
She was snooping.
And was supposed to be too moral for her own good, whatever that means. I remember Vizier popped up in Rowan's head and is like, finish him, this is what you want. So then Rowan is about to, and Faladar's like, I have one last thing. And so Rowan's like, okay, fine, like, say it. So then Faladar is like pulling Rowan closer and then takes his hooked hand and like stabs him right through the neck. And only, you know, luck of the dice. Rowan only had 1 HP left. Or while Rowan's bleeding out, Vizier like moves Rowan's hand to touch touch Faladar's face and just fucking
basically melts him.
Melts this man.
And out of flexes, Marie and Fearne use their last spells, like healing stuff, to heal Rowan so he doesn't die.
Good times.
It was just a little traumatizing.
Because Lear is part of the Ashen Pack, you know, he has Lear burn the body to send Faladar to the never-ending torture of being in the trees, because that's what the Ashen Wolf promised Rowan.
To the hell trees!
Guess who pops in? Vosmus. Vosmus is like, this looks like how he fucking failed. What the fuck? Well, time to end it myself, and is like walking towards us. At this point, we're gonna die. Like, there's no way. We can't take on a fucking vampire.
Fearne was just like, I'm gonna stand in front of my friends. Fuck you!
And then this bitch literally dissolves into ashes, basically.
And guess who was behind him?
Felinor! Felinor pops in. And he was just like, wow, you guys really got into some trouble, didn't you? And that's whenever we obviously kind of find out that Felinor has been kind of like keeping tabs on us this entire time.
Prying on us.
Also tells Rowan that he knew Bria. Was like, I'll tell you later if you prove yourself to me. Ha, bitch. Was like, yeah, I'll be watching you guys. And then left. So then we're like heading out of the greenhouse. And we find that Felinor has left us a chest.
Yes.
And we open the chest, and there is one magic item that is specifically catered to each of us.
Fearne got some really cool goggles that could see in the dark, help with perception checks, and help with investigation. I think it's investigation.
Marie got key that helps her sneak. Yeah, it helps her sneak and do like things with thieves' tools.
And then Rowan got a like staff that allows him to cast fire spells. But yeah, basically things that were catered to us. So that's weird. Felinor is just leaving these things and leaving us.
Weird
Cool.
gifts, can we not?
We reconvene inside the mansion that we get back there. Our crew is there with Benji's militia, Eamon and Calamite. Everyone's kind of beat up, but like they're like emptying out like the mansion of goods and shit because the Vosmus family's gone. Where the fuck did they go? I don't know. We know where one went, which is dust.
It's a mystery.
Mystery.
We did nothing about the the sisters.
Yeah, it's fine. That definitely won't pop up later.
Alright.
Benji and Rayla at this point are like, hey, like this is nice, and basically we recruited them. Marie needed to go back to Bargetide anyway.
Yeah.
Rayla didn't have a life to go back to at the tower, and Benji is just kind of Benji.
He just like, I'm pretty sure he kind of invited himself.
But we all have some little nice moments after that whole shit. Eamon and Rowan are very sad because Bria. Memories of Bria. Calamite definitely yeets Marie into a fucking bathhouse, if I remember right.
Yeeted her into a
Yes.
bathhouse. Because they tried to go
Scared
to a
the hell out of
bathhouse
her.
and they're like, yeah, no pets. So Calamite was like, you know what?
And just, yeah, yeeted her literally into the fucking bathhouse, over the wall or whatever. We all met at the tavern, and Rowan said goodbye to Eamon and Shamar, and then Calamite was also like, peace, bitches, I'll see y'all in Bargetide, I'm sure.
Y'all later.
And the little eel left with them. Then we all kind of met at the tavern with Benji and Rayla. We're just kind of having a nice little talk, little good talk. So then on our way to Bargetide, so we're passing an island, and Fearne looks over, and she's with Ranson in like the crow's nest.
Just, helping. Hanging out with Rance, supposed to be friends with him. With her shiny new goggles, was looking at an island and saw something on the beach that shifted, and she's like, what? Okay, we need to check that out, because that looks like something that pertains to me.
Could be changeling. We're like, okay, we're gonna go check it out real quick. We're kind of dumb. And
Kinda.
Fearne, Marie, and Rowan were like, yeah, it's fine. We'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Lies.
Narrative voice. They were not.
And they were not. So then we're like exploring this island, and we end up running into like two people, and they were like, hey, and they were actually really nice to us, and they were like, yo, like, let's take you back to our village, you can like meet everyone. And obviously it's like, hey, maybe we can meet this changeling, I don't know. We follow them to their village, and we kind of find out they're a little weird. They worship something called the Eldest, which is a spirit on the island that kind of keeps them safe. Found out that like no one's gonna answer questions, because they're like, yeah, all these questions you want to ask, you need to ask to the Eldest. Like, they know everything.
You nervous
And
laughter.
so Domina, who is like the spiritual leader of the village, Domina is like, okay, yeah, I and Neuro will take you to go see the Eldest. And we're just kind of like, yeah, we don't know about this.
There was a half-orc lady that was sick. Orc lady.
And so he went ahead and went and looked at her, and it was like signs of like poison almost, but not. And he couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. And she was saying that she drank water from like a river down south, which she wasn't supposed to. Like, you're not supposed to go south on the island. That's a big no-no. The Eldest is like, no, I protect you, North Island, don't go south. But she was going south to go hunt anyway, and drank water out of that river, and was suddenly like having all these weird symptoms, and Rowan could not identify what it was. And so he was like, I'm gonna give you this, we're gonna see how that works, and I might have to go get like water samples or something to figure it out. I believe because Fearne was asking about changelings. That was when everyone's like, you have to go talk to the Eldest, they know everything. And so all three of us travel through this island to get to this mountain that this Eldest was in. It's very beautiful. Whenever we get to the mountain, it's like very gem-like and beautiful and very pretty. And we end up traveling to like the center where there's like a lake, and we meet the Eldest, which is very scary tentacles and eyes and kind of shit.
Makes us give him gifts.
Makes us give him gifts in order to answer our
Good
questions.
stuff. Ugh.
And then gives us the shittiest answers in the world.
We gotta ask him like one question or something because we gave him like a nice thing. I know Rowan specifically asked like name someone responsible for Bria's death other than Meldfin, and he gave him the Keeper as a name. So Rowan was like, "Wait, what the fuck? Wait, what? Bitch? What?"
Marie refused to ask anything.
But she still had to give up items.
She was pissed off about it.
Fearne asked about where the changelings come from and how to find them and blah blah blah, and he was just like, "Yeah, lol, you don't."
And so I believe we were all pissed off, and we're like, "What the fuck? You didn't answer anything." He's like, "I go now, bye."
Yeah, and then he like went back under the water. Domina's like, "Okay, I'm gonna peace out and head back to the village first." Because then it just ended up being Nero and us traveling back to the village. While on our way back, one night, Lear wakes up Rowan, and I believe Marie's on watch. So we followed him. We find a form in the water, and we're like, well, we're not gonna fuck with that.
Nope.
Like, last time there was a form in the water, Rowan's like, it was a fucking crocodile.
Right?
No, absolutely not.
Marie and Rowan are all arguing about that shit. Lear came and got Fearne. Fearne sleepily comes back, looks at the other two like, are you fucking kidding me? Throws, I think it's either a stick or a rock in to hit this figure. The figure stands up, and it's Tashara. Because what was her name before she was Tashara? I can't remember what her name was before that.
Greba, the orc woman. Then basically after seeing her, I believe Rowan and Marie kind of were like, this seems like a curse more. And Marie was like, lesser restoration, bitch. And Greba suddenly is like, who the fuck is Greba?
We're like, what?
And it's like, my name's Tashara. And then we find out that all the people on this island have kind of been like brainwashed to like the island and want to stay and like serve the eldest. Tashara was like, you can't leave the island if you try.
Because she tried.
And so we're now finding out the eldest is an issue we're gonna have to take care of.
Yep.
And the only thing we can think of is, hey, the eldest doesn't want people to go down south. Maybe there's something down south that can help us or tell us more about what the fuck the eldest is. And then Tashara's like, hey, I gotta go get my shit. I'll be back. Stay here and I'll meet you. And then the next morning, Nero like wakes up and we're like, hey, we want to fish.
That's the reason we're not coming back.
Trying to bide time to get Tashara back.
Yeah, and then Nero's like, well, I'm gonna head to the village. You guys know where to go, right? Because we're pretty close at this point. And we're like, yeah, we just want to fish. Like, peace out. Bye, bitch. We'll see you later. So Nero leaves us. And then, like, we're just, like, waiting for Tashara. And that's whenever these weird, eyeless, white creatures come out of nowhere and, like, attack us.
And that's when Fearne gets to use her Eldritch Claw tattoo for the first time. Fancy tattoo!
And I believe that's whenever Marie also pulls out Vigilus for the first time. Big boy crossbow.
Big
Hurt
boy.
pain.
We almost get her shit rocked in.
Yeah. Rowan fails a wisdom save in the middle of the fight. And immediately turns to attack friends.
Shoots Fearne in the back.
Haha.
With a crit. Almost a crit.
God.
Yeah.
God.
But Tashara comes in at the last moment and we're fighting. We end up winning.
Barely.
Good times. Barely. But we did it. And we make our way south.
Marie, being covered in nasty, wanted to take a bath. So Marie took a bath. And Fearne's like, I'm not getting in that fucking water. I'd rather be disgusting.
Marie's like, it's okay, guys. I'm just gonna cast, like, lesser restoration on myself afterwards or whatever. It's fine. And she did so, but she was still wet afterwards.
Which, yes. So as we were traveling, after taking the bath in the cursed river, or the water, Marie starts losing her fur and getting exhausted and not feeling good or right and being wet, looking wet. And as we get further south, we actually notice that there's a stronghold, and we have to go through these like canyons to get there. And at this point, we're like, ooh, hopefully we can, get Marie there, and hopefully someone can help her because she's not looking hot.
Before she, croaks. We heard weird shit in the cavern. That's why we're being very careful too.
We're heading towards the tower, and then all of a sudden, there's this like fucking
screeching.
There was like a thing that had eyes in its mouth or something.
Eyes in its mouth. It looked like a vortex of like eyes in its face. It did not have a face. It was
a very, very like Grudge-esque, terrifying,
like
thing.
Normal hands and arms, but like extended like a spider's would be.
And she was chasing us, and actually suppressed our magic.
Yeah, Rowan almost died. Fearne went back and saved him.
Yeah, he was in its mouth. It was very sad.
Deshara was carrying Marie.
And we end up making it to the tower last minute. Hoo boy.
One danger to the next, though.
Yep, and we find out that the tower, in it, is a mind flayer named Rusk. Hoo boy.
Oh, it's him at first, though. We were hiding behind bookshelves. And we're all split apart, and Fearne threw a card down, like one of the illusionary cards, to distract. While we got away, we climbed upstairs, and then that's where he cornered us. It was upstairs, in his weird office.
But we find out that he's a mind flayer that owns the tower. His name is Rusk, and he's a vegetarian.
As much as a vegetarian you can be.
And he's not, like, part of a like hive or whatever you want to call of mind flayers. Like, he's by himself, and he doesn't really answer to a higher power. We talk about the eldest, and he's like, yeah, that's that fucking aboleth. And it was like, what? So we learn all about aboleths, and do a lot of research in like his library while he is saving Marie from turning into one of those little white creatures or whatever.
Totally just saved her ass.
I just shave her.
Did take off all of her fur.
It sucked. Boy, did it suck.
So she is now a naked kitty.
Naked kitty.
I'm not a fan.
Oh, we kind of come up with a plan to go take on the eldest or whatever. Rusk also is kind of like real weird, and he's like, yeah, you guys can come back if you want. I'll be here. And like drew a teleportation circle on a piece of paper and gave it to Rowan. So we have that still.
No way to use it, but
never
cool,
used
I guess. We can't use it.
Don't know how to use it.
Then on our way back to the eldest, Rowan ends up having a nightmare thing. I don't know. By the eldest, who knows? That was never answered. Who fucking knows? But basically had a dream, and he ended up in the far realms. And there were like things coming after him, and he ended up like in the far realms. They were talking to him in a weird language he couldn't understand, and it like really hurt his brain to even comprehend or try to look at them because they were just so fucking insane. And ended up stumbling, like he ran and stumbled into like this weird dreamscape area. It's a really just a long fucking thing of torture, basically. But ends up finding an astral dragon.
Rowan's very good at these weird brain things. It's a common occurrence.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But ends up stumbling away from the far realms, or the realm of chaos, whatever that was. Ended up meeting an astral dragon who was like, what the fuck, what are you doing here? How did you manage to get here without trying? Like, most people fight to get here. And there was like a little like silver string attached, and he's like, yeah, don't let that get cut, because that's your that's what connects you to your body, by the way.
You gonzo.
And basically talked to the astral dragon a little bit. The astral dragon's like, okay, well, I'll help you get back, because I'm lonely and, can't leave. I was like, oh, okay. So Rowan does end up back in his body. I think that actually happened on the way to Rusk, after his mind was taken over by the eldest or whatever during that fight. Because in the dream, while he was in the far realms, he didn't understand what they were talking about. and then it switched to common and said some things that could possibly come up later with our crew, knowing them. So there was like a fish with tentacles that was coming at Rowan, like very closely, and that was whenever Rowan was like backing up, like whoa, 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 whoa. While his pain, or like his head is like pulsing in pain because like this shit is so fucking hard to comprehend. And then switched to common and said, "You will usher us in, you will herald us to the end, you will serve us." And that was whenever Rowan like bounced.
He's like, no.
Absolutely not.
And I remember he specifically brought that up to Rusk and like said the exact words that was said to him. And Rusk was like, that's not supposed to happen for a really long time. What's your name? And Rowan was like, Rowan O'Flynn. And he's like, that's the wrong name. And then Rowan's like, you want to like elaborate? And he was like, nope.
Nope.
So yeah, that's a thing. Probably will pop up later, knowing us, and other things that will come up very soon with Fearne. But anyway, we talked to Rusk. Kind of got a game plan. We end up tricking Domina to come out into the woods with us. Like, we go back to the village, get Domina. We cast Lesser Restoration on her. Or Lesser Restoration. And Domina's like, yeah, I'll fucking fight that thing with you. What the fuck? It took over my mind. Like, yeah.
Fuck that bitch.
And so then our little group of Marie, Rowan, Fearne, Tashara, and Domina make our way into the cave. Once again, going by the river, because Rowan can cast that breathe underwater, which will come in very clutch later, as whenever we make it to the aboleth, we don't make it out of the water. We have a whole underwater fight sequence.
Fearne's blinded almost the whole time because she was trying to help and got blinded.
Yeah, Marie got taken over by the aboleth later in the fight.
I forgot about that.
And then Marie was in the process of like swimming out again whenever we finally kill it. It was definitely a rough fight. Very rough. But then we get to take all the loot.
Delicious loots.
You know what else we forgot about? We forgot about going up there. We found more bounders and killed a bunch of them, but Fearne kind of tamed one and named it Kiwi.
Oh, Kiwi.
Yeah, so we've had a more bounder this entire time.
Yeah.
That's like following us and chilling. Kiwi, and Fearne's been feeding it fish and shit the entire time.
Kiwi ended up running away from that weird spider eyeball face lady.
And will find us later, but not with us now while we're fighting the aboleth. But we get a lot of loot. I'm trying to think of the only loot that matters. We got a box that Rowan has yet to actually unlock fully. We got a lot of gold, and I believe all the other items, there was nothing we kept.
We just found all of our stuff, and we got Tashara's hammer axe thing back, and we picked up gold.
And then we also got like the bands that you can throw.
We also got that magic glue that glues
the glue and the paint.
Can do.
Got her paints.
And the paints. Yeah, there we go.
The magic paint.
Oh, and then you got your ice leather armor.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. My ice armor.
The ice armor for Marie that fits. But then we end up getting back to the village. Everyone is kind of like, what the fuck happened? Because now they are like, the curse is broken now that the aboleth is dead. And we're like, hey, yeah, that cave exploding, but you can like go back and see if you can get the rest of your shit back.
You want to try.
Like after it's done. And we're gonna like get to our ship and everything the next day. We have a night of rest. We're not gonna really deal with like the politics here. So when we had talked to Rusk earlier and we were like researching info on the eldest, he basically made the deal he'd help us as much as he could if we agreed to like let him look at the body whenever we were done. So whenever we were back at the village, a random man like found our group and like ushered us to the side once we returned from killing the aboleth, and revealed himself to be Rusk in disguise. He was like super upset and being pretty aggressive like towards us, talking about how the aboleth supposedly knew all of us from before, and so we were all super confused. He reached out and read Fearne's mind forcibly before we could like do anything about it, and brought up a random memory Fearne had about one of her sisters waking her up in the middle of the night and uttering something about like quote unquote the time is near. Rusk was really cryptic during this entire like scene, definitely seeming not to trust us from whatever he had seen in the aboleth's mind or body or whatever he did, but maybe that was supposedly how the aboleth had known Fearne from before, was that weird thing with her sister. We don't know. He also said that one of us was Far Realms touched, and 2 of us were Fae touched, also seemingly from the aboleth's memories, maybe? Again, all really super cryptic, and we still don't have answers. Yeah. The next day, it was kind of like Drac, who was like the leader, was like, yeah, some of us are gonna stay, some of us are gonna go. There is a ship on the southern part of the island that was like kind of left by a large portion of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever we landed here, so we'll probably take that back. But there were people that were going to stay on Akmar Island and live, because it was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And now that there's no fucking aboleth controlling their mind, you know, might as well. We start heading towards the beach, and all of a sudden we hear like footsteps in front of us, and we're like, what the fuck is that now?
We all hide.
And like, we're hiding, and Rowan rolled like an hour.
Yeah, he sucked it.
Marie and Rowan were fighting because Rowan was asking about family stuff, and Marie was like, yeah, my family is literally called the family. And Rowan was like, what do you mean? What is this?
Family. Fucking mafia.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. And was just like, your family sounds dumb, basically.
Mm-hmm. Marie ran off.
Yeah, whenever we were hiding, Marie literally ran.
Just fucking booked it. Fearne hid. Rowan just sucked at hiding. And Tashara rolled really well.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, someone embraces Rowan in a hug from behind, and it was Eamon.
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo! Yay! Not a creature.
Burp, Rayla, Zal, Shamar, and Eamon were there. And Calamite was. As this is all happening, Marie is by herself, I remember that, and she almost gets attacked by Axe Beaks, and that's when Kiwi saved her.
Marie's just like, I don't fucking trust you, Cat, but I guess you were right.
But we make our way back to the beach, and we find out that our ship with Heskin and crew had left because we had been there for so long. They were like, they're dead, and they left after 3 days. And Burp immediately went to Shamar and Calamite and Rayla, and we're like, we gotta go. We gotta go right now. And they were like, yeah, Burp was definitely gonna jump in and just swim if we didn't like come.
Yeah.
And also like the fact that Shamar and Eamon were like, son.
I kid. They made Fearne leave Kiwi.
Yeah, there was no room on the boat.
No.
So Kiwi was left on the island of Akmar. Long live Kiwi.
Rowan does a very poor job of trying to cheer Fearne up and just makes her even more upset. Basically, like, oh yeah, because Fearne's like, maybe she can just like find somewhere else to live, and Rowan's like, maybe she will, but hopefully she doesn't get eaten by Rusk. Oh yeah, she doesn't really have a pack to go to, and Fearne's like, shut up, Rowan.
I forgot about this.
And Rayla being Rayla didn't hear all of it, and it was just like, why are you yelling at Rowan? It's just like, because he's being a bitch.
He's always being mean.
Just no one ever hears Rowan being an asshole.
So then we're on the ship, and then I believe, so we all kind of talk to different people. Rowan goes to actually talk to Rayla, and specifically asks, like, am I being mean? And proceeds to also give her a mind shielding ring that he had, like a magic ring that like makes it to where people cannot like talk to you in your head. And he was like, this might work. And also he felt like he owed Rayla, given the fact that Burp, there was no way Burp could have gotten Shamar and Eamon to come get us off the island. And he's like, shit, we do owe her a lot. Fuck. Also the fact that she was not very happy with us after, you know. the Whispering Cove Island fiasco. Gave her the mind shielding ring, which she was like very, very happy about and very pleased.
Marie talked to Calamite and found out that Calamite's killed an Eldest before.
You know, just as you do.
Yeah, and Fearne talked to Burp, and Burp gave her a jar of platinum paint because she was sad. Because she gave Burp a ring that had dragons on it and had Bahamut on it, and so he gave her a jar of platinum paint.
We love that. And then I believe Fearne and Marie also were kind of like talking and being sad about like wanting to go back home to Adela, both being from there.
Yeah.
And was just like, oh, I want to go home.
And then we got back to Bargetide, and that's where we picked up.
Yes, back to Bargetide, and where we officially start. But I believe that is quite the catch up so far. Thank you if you made it all the way through. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for listen to our weird babbles.
Thank you for listening.
Hopefully you will enjoy what lurks below.